I've been a therapist for 13 years, and I want to look at some of the mental unrest of one Kanye West. Let's go.
I would love to take your business advice.
Why would I listen to you?
Why do you use any of that? Why would any of that?
Bro, I ain't finished. I ain't finished my sentence. Boy.
Since I've been a therapist and an interventionist for over a decade, I am not doing this with the intention of treating or diagnosing anyone, but it is interesting to look at some of these traits of possible personality disorders as they play out for everyone to see, especially in the case of Yeezy.
Talk to anyone I know at all, and tell everybody never talk to anyone. That anyone don't talk to themselves. Don't talk ever again.
Here's up your booty. I could literally.
Narcissistic personality disorder comes with a lot of traits that are usually a collection of defense mechanisms to try to generate a shell of self-importance when in fact there's a lot of insecurity inside. And Ye recently came out and said that he had been abused or in a incestuous relationship when he was a young man. That's a good reason to build a shell if you're making the case that somebody might have narcissistic personality disorder. So those traits include grandiosity, preoccupation with unlimited success, power, fame, brilliance, belief that you're special or unique, require excessive admiration, sense of entitlement, interpersonally exploitative, so taking advantage of others. Big one for all the personality disorders, lacking empathy. So you can literally hurt someone else and not feel the burn like a normal person would. And then envious of others if they believe they're coming up faster or better than they are. And then arrogant, haughty behaviors and attitudes.
I was on opioids. I was addicted to opioids. I had plastic surgery because I was trying to look good for y'all. I got liposuction because I didn't want you to call me fat like y'all called Rob at the wedding.
Firstly, the example of the grandiosity and self-importance is during the 2009 MTV Music Awards, he interrupted Taylor Swift and said that Beyonce should have won the album, whatever award it was that T. Sweezy was getting. And he makes statements like, I am Warhol. I am the #1 most impactful artist of my generation. I am Shakespeare. I'm Walt Disney. I'm Steve Jobs. Those are all direct quotes from Kanye that demonstrate the grandiosity and self-importance that he shows just in public. So imagine what might be going on behind closed doors.
What do you want to do differently if you were the leader of the free world?
When I talk, it's a symphony of ideas.
Now, the fantasies of power and brilliance. He said that he would run for president multiple times. He created the Donda Academy, a private school shrouded in secrecy. He is building a grand utopia vision like Yeezy housing domes, which got shut down. And these aren't just business ventures. They're part of a larger network of identification trying to defend himself against any incursion of his personality. So anything or any way that he might feel vulnerable, these are all attempting to build that shell around that personality.
I just said a prayer in this situation. This isn't...
You said a prayer because of what? What motivated you to say a prayer right there?
I am in so much fear. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Who are you?
We'll wrap it up here.
It's really hard to make houses.
We'll wrap it up here. Bye, everybody.
This won't be the last time.
You're crazy.
Thirdly, Ye has demonstrated that he believes he's special or untouchable. He said that he was chosen by God and on a divine mission. In 2018, he put on a MAGA hat and said he was invincible, and that's where he generated some support from the right, whereas he was pretty much more on the other political end. It doesn't even matter. These comments suggest that he has this belief in uniqueness or being spiritually called, which is maybe a generation of something that he knows is a farce, but a lot of people who have severe and persistent mental illness do sort of generate this shell that they have a lot of premonition or admonitions that are spiritual in nature. Now, if they have like hallucinations and delusions that have to do with spirituality, I frankly believe that that's something that's just inherent and built into each of us, that we have this spiritual attunement. And so that when you're persistently mentally ill, sometimes those come out in a strange way, and they could even lead to like hallucinations or the belief that demons are talking to you, which has been something pretty common in my practices as a mental health therapist.
Medic things and Adidas can't drop me. Now what?
Are you sorry you said that?
No.
I think it matters. You should be.
Absolutely not.
You should.
Ye has continually sought the need for admiration and praise, saying that he deserves as much credit as Walt Disney or Steve Jobs, which are obviously ways that he's trying to build that collective personality shell so that he doesn't have to face what might be reality, which is he's just sort of a second tier artist. Well, maybe he's first tier. I don't even know. I don't listen to his music or anything else that he does. But anything that might whisper like, oh, your career's kind of coming to an end, that needs to be defended against. So he makes these statements like he should be recognized like Andy Warhol or something.
Kanye West, now known as Ye, has released a new song. The title of that song, I can't say on YouTube. The song has been banned from basically every single platform except for X, where it gets played quite a bit. And it's gone pretty viral. People have been covering it. And Joe Rogan says, actually kind of catchy. And his guest says, Kanye never lost a step. That's true.
Ye obviously has sense of entitlement and exploitative behavior, like downing on his friends, Drake, Jay-Z, whoever else he might have had peer-to-peer relationships with in his industry. It appears that over time, those will all fall apart because he needs that sense of admiration coming from every angle. And anyone who might climb the hill faster or higher than he does is inevitably then a threat to that personality.
Kanye said it best.
Okay.
Kanye said it best.
Okay.
What did he say? He said,
lacking empathy has come out, especially in his break from his marriage with Kim Kardashian, leaking personal information about their children, about what was going on within their family, demonstrates that he was willing to put her to the side in order to build up that personality that needed defended. So he would put their personal information out there, even things that might hurt his children were blasted out in public, because the personality and his protection of that personality is more important than whether he might feel bad or have any sort of sympathy or empathy for those that he loved the most at that time. Big personality disorder trait of somebody who might have narcissistic personality disorder. And again, I'm not diagnosing him with that. That's not what I'm here to do. But if you did, a big part of it is arrogance and superiority complex, where he referred to himself as Jesus and said that he needed to be spiritually attuned, that he was spiritually called. This is a pervasive belief that he's better or more insightful or more divine than others. And that has obviously come out in some of the ways that he's come out with Christian albums a couple times and thought that, well, any route that he can find to try to find attention, and he's gone against the Israelites here recently, any route where he can find dominion and climb that hierarchy a little bit more than the next person demonstrates to him personally that he is getting higher up, and that defends, again, that position of narcissism. Kanye West has continually demonstrated grandiosity, self-importance, lacking empathy for others, all of which might lead to a diagnosis of narcissism if you were his counselor. But there's a lot more than that, right? He's a man who's suffered. He's a man who's suffered a lot of losses. And that is ultimately, the grieving process, along with some of the abuses that he suffered, could easily lead to somebody trying to defend the shell so that they don't have that vulnerability that he had while he was growing up. So it's up to us as believers to have empathy for him. Maybe seeking understanding would be really hard because he's not going to have empathy for you even if you do that. And anyone who comes alongside him or pushes him up in the hierarchy might reinforce that belief system, which actually is probably really painful and really tearing him down in the end. So prayers for him. I don't believe basically anything that he says, because frankly, I don't even think that he believes anything that he says. It's all just a dog and pony show to try to reinforce the belief that he is higher up in the hierarchy than others.
Are you sorry you said that?
No.
I think it matters. You should be.
Absolutely not.
You should.
On this channel, we try to analyze what's true about mental unrest and what has been failing in my industry that has led to so many people believing that they're mentally ill. Now, I would never seek to proliferate that, and even listing these diagnostic criteria can lead people to think, oh, well, my boyfriend has that. No, they probably don't. So don't go too hard at this, but do please like, share, and subscribe if this can be any support to you. God bless.